Hello everyone. Today me and my teammates, Sofia, Iran, and Garegin, will talk to you about trust in brands. And furthermore, we will also cover the case of Johnson&Johnson about a big trust erosion that happened, and we'll offer some techniques on how they can re-engineer their trust. So firstly, let's talk about what is brand trust. It is the customer's confidence that the brand will constantly deliver on its premises, whether it's the product's quality, safety, transparency, customer experience, or other values that they have promised their customers. So, what this brings the companies? This brings the companies a lot of advantages. For example, long-term customer loyalty, which also in a longer run turns into continuous sales and also brings us continuous profits. And this brings a competitive advantage to the companies because their perceived value increases, and because the customers usually spread the positive word of mouth, and all of the big brands that we know have created the subconscious level of trust, brand trust within us, and that is what triggers our consumer purchases most of the time. Let's move on. So now let's talk about Johnson&Johnson. It is also known as J&J. It is a global leader in healthcare as well as consumer well-being. They've been in the market since 1886, and they produce different types of products such as healthcare products, the baby care, as well as care for adults. Also, they produce pharmaceuticals and medical devices, and they had a high reputation for the longest time. However, something changed in 2018. 22 women have sued Johnson&Johnson, claiming that its talcum powder causes ovarian cancer, and researchers have found asbestos in their products, which is a very well-known carcinogen. And what makes the situation worse is that the company was aware of it because in their documentations in 1970s, it was found that the company was aware of it and did not in fact warn their customers, not on the packaging, not in the advertisements. How did this impact their brand trust? Of course, they have lost a lot of customers, and also till now they're facing a lot of lawsuits, 50,000 plus lawsuits, and they decided to settle this down with a $10 billion plan. However, it did not work out, so they decided to solve this issue via bankruptcy. And when this failed as well, they decided to just refuse the claims of the having asbestos in their products, which we do not think is the right approach to this problem, and they cannot re-engineer the trust this way. And they have lost billions of dollars in settlements and legal fees. And now Garakin will take over and talk about the technological role in brand trust.
So we know that technological innovations have been growing throughout recent years, and it has considerably changed how people view and assess product safety. Previously, companies had narrative control over their brand image, but now with new emerging technologies, it has been very crucial for companies to be transparent about their products. So Johnson&Johnson powder case has demonstrated us that such advancements can bring about a lot of problems for such companies for having very shady practices. New toxicological and epidemiological research have been crucial in establishing links between ovarian cancer and Johnson& Johnson's talcum powder. Previously, it was just assumed that this powder was safe, and it was based just on very few researches. But now the new researches have been crucial in in detecting trace amounts of asbestos, as we said, a known carcinogen within this talc powder. We are living in a technological era where the new information is shared and made public within just seconds. So for Johnson&Johnson, this meant that when their documents were shared and made public, it was their brand image was practically in point of no return. And this have meant that the whole market had to suffer big losses because of it. So the consequences of lost trust are huge, and one of such is brand loyalty loss. So the customers who had previously been using the Johnson&Johnson talcum powder have switched to other brands, and not only the ones who used the talcum, but also the ones who used other medications and cosmetics switched to other brands just because Johnson&Johnson lost their reputation. Also, they faced legal and financial consequences, for example, 50,000 plus lawsuits and billions of dollars in losses. Also, it had wider implications. For example, the governments and authorities became stricter towards the whole industry, and the whole industry had to suffer. Also, they had big internal problems. With so many scandals, it lowered employee morale, and a lot of key employees were just starting to leave the company. It was harder for them also to retain the important employees that they already had. And they had also hiring difficulties with their low credibility. Finding new prospects became very challenging. Finally, they had investor confidence loss, and it was hard for them to keep the investors they already had in hand and finding the new investor. And as a result, it affected their market value and potential future investments. And they had a huge stock volatility and loss of trust. Now I would like to Sophia to introduce some critical players and influencing factors in rebuilding lost trust.
Thank you, Garegin. Now let's move on and talk about the critical players who are available in this incident. And the first one that I want to mention are the women who respond that the company Johnson&Johnson is responsible for developing the ovarian cancer by their product. The next one is the company itself, its legal team and the public relation teams. These two teams are essential because they will do their best to protect the company in a court, and they will claim that they didn't do anything wrong. They will protect and safeguard their brand reputation and image. The next one are the judges who were the decision makers who will decide whether the company is responsible for this or not. The next is medical experts and scientists. These are the experts who will be responsible to detect the harmful materials and substances in the product. There are some regulatory bodies such as Food and Drug Administration, Center for Disease Control and Prevention, World Health Organization. These are the regulatory bodies which set the minimum standards for cosmetic products such as Johnson&Johnson's talcum powder. The next one are the executive leadership. These are the these are the internal actors who will set some strict internal policies which will encourage the open and transparent product testing. At the first glance, we can think that the employees are not part of this case. However, open and transparent communication, safe communication among the employees will be important in order to prevent further ethical violations. And finally, the independent observers. These are the external actors who are unbiased and who can make the company to take accountability and also shape the public perception about this incident. Although all these critical players are very important for this situation, however, I want to highlight two of them, the women and the company itself. This is important because without the women, there will be no awareness about the situation, and the company itself should protect himself in during the legal procedures to claim that they didn't do anything wrong, to not lose the trust in brands. And let's move on and talk about the influencing factors. The first and the most important factor is the policy and regulatory loopholes. As I already mentioned, there are some regulatory bodies such as FDA, which set strict regulations on the cosmetic products. However, initially they did it wrong and allowed the Johnson&Johnson company to sell its product without warning labels. Next, the technological and scientific advances, as Karagin already mentioned, because of this digital era, there's a lot of new technologies that will allow the medical expert and scientists to detect the harmful materials even faster in every product. The economic pressure is a factor which influences both the women and the company. The women who suffer from the talcum powder may have to pay some bills, medical bills, which will be essential for them to then further have a compensation. And then about the company itself may meet some legal fees, loss of customers, trust, and brand reputation. The next one is social and cultural context, which help to shape the public perception. This is important because with the usage of this factor, people become aware of the situation and the incident, and this will further influence the brand reputation and public perception, which is the final factor. This is important as nowadays people rely a lot on the feedback, on brand reputation, and the trust, not to lose the trust between the existing consumers and the company itself will attract also new customers. So now, as you already know some information, some background about the critical players, now let's move on and talk about how we can re-engineer the trust. Irene, please.
Thank you, Sophia. Let's talk about the re-engineering trust. To regain the trust that the Johnson&Johnson company lost, firstly, right now, they must show accountability, meaning they should publicly apologize and accept the responsibility that come with it. Next up is the compensation. If they accept the responsibility, of course, they should compensate all of the victims. Should it be monetary or other, it doesn't matter. The compensation must be done. And for the future, the company must be very transparent in their endeavors, meaning they must be very transparent in their communication with the customers, show that their products are safe and sound for usage. If we talk about safety, there are many things that the company can do to show the consumers that their products are safe. Firstly, they can release public reports done by toxicologists that will support the claims that the products are safe. Next up is the third-party review committee, which is not connected to Johnson&Johnson. Will already believe that the products are safe because the people reviewing it are not from Johnson&Johnson itself. Next up is reconsidering their past products. This incident is a very big incident, and to show customers that the company changed, they should remove or maybe replace some of their products that had talcum powder in it. And this will show the customers that this company changed and it can be trusted. And finally, public engagement is also a crucial part, has a crucial part in re-engineering trust. They can have some forums, Q&A sessions, etc., to show customers that they are safe and answer all of the questions and concerns that the customers have. And also one thing I want to highlight is about UGC creators. According to our research, that is that 84% of consumers are more likely to buy a product if they see UGC creator use it. UGC is a user-generated content, and if a person says that, I don't know, a third person has this product, they will more likely to buy it. Johnson&Johnson can use these tactics to rebuild the trust that they have with their customers. Thank you for your time.